Hey, everybody, it's Bob Rivers. Yeah, I'm back. I can't believe I'm looking into a camera and my head is a little bit clearer. And I get to have a fun, interesting conversation with my son, Andrew, in a few minutes. But first, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who has been so kind over the last 4 months as I went through some surgeries and I had sepsis. I've been hospitalized a whole bunch, and all throughout all of that, so many wonderful people reached out with their cares and concerns. And actually, some of you have written me some incredible letters about our time on the radio, 25 years in Seattle, or even prior to that in Baltimore or Worcester, and told me just great memories you have. So I want you to know it means a lot. And as I'm starting to feel better and I'm becoming less of a drug addict, that's going to be one of the topics today. I just went, let's have a conversation again. So today, number one topic, election, sadness or joy. And Andrew has done something shocking to me. And in fact, I think it'll be shocking to his mother. I think it'll be shocking to my sister who is here, my sister Patty, the school teacher. I think it'll be shocking to the whole family. I think it'll be shocking to his audience. And in fact, my sister has been trying to guess all morning. Did he get married? And I will say that could have happened if he was in Vegas, and what he did do also could have happened if he was in Vegas. But no, that wasn't it. Did he fall off the wagon? And no, he's never had a problem with drugs. They were very friendly to him. Yeah, especially the sativa sort, which I have to admit, as a cancer patient, I'm what they call California sober. No, it's nothing like that. And in fact, it's something he did with passion. It's something he did with his heart. And it's something he did that might have been a huge mistake. But I got to tell you, I love him so much that I've felt like a whole ton of empathy, but no criticism whatsoever. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on our special guest for this Bob Rivers is Back podcast, Andrew Rivers.
Hello.
Hey, son. How's it
How
going?
are you?
Well, how are I? Well, you know a
Well, that's a
little.
loaded question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, but yeah.
Starting in July, I had a pacemaker installed, but I had problems with it, and I had a lot of pain, the kind where you need pain pills, and I got well, it kept getting worse, and then I don't want to get into the whole long medical thing, but I got to get that monkey off my back, to quote Aerosmith.
A literal
And
monkey. Yeah.
yeah, I was literal, and I'm almost there. I'm down to little 5 milligrams. I'm actually breaking the tablets in half and going as long as I can in between them. And as the back surgery that I did heals, I might be fine. And by the way, I say all of this knowing everyone in my audience probably had surgery last month. I mean, we're all so old, and or their brother or sister did, or the cancer thing. Everybody's going through that. It's a part of when you're almost 70 years old. This is, you lose your friends, and it's tough. So I don't want to dwell on that. I will introduce you, though, to my emotional support animal, which is another idea I got from Andrew, actually. And can they see the giraffe? I believe they can. Um,
Yeah.
the story is I had esophageal cancer, and my son does this huge bit about emotional support animals, which is one of his classic, like George Carlin, famous bits of all time. And so it was discussed about, Lisa was get a cat, get a dog. And I was like, I don't want anything that shits in my house to be added to what we're already dealing with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
got a kitty litter box, right?
Yeah.
So
And
anyway,
who knows how long you'll be able to control your bowels also. So
have you not been there for the last few months? I'm regaining control.
I
So
know.
anyway, Andrew Tell them how this.
Well, mom started hiding little figurines around the house. It was just kind of a game we would play. And it started with like all sorts of elephants and lions and tigers and bears. And, you and I would go on adventures to a concert or whatever. And I would come back and I would lay in bed and they'd be under my pillow or something like that. And then I would hide them in the middle of the night outside her door or in the microwave or in the fridge or,
Now, what you don't know, probably, because I don't think I've told you this, is that maybe 20 years ago, the bank used to give us little beanie babies, and your mother used to do that then, and we made a game of it. And she would hide them under my pillow, and then I would hide
funny.
one in the kitchen for her. So what you were doing was bringing back a playful, nostalgic thing that we did as soulmates, husband and wife.
Yeah.
And I was watching you do it, and I was going, oh, yeah, I need to, like, poor Lisa's working so hard to take care of me. We need to have some fun.
Yeah.
And you had brought fun into our house. That's what was so nice about it.
That's cool. I had no idea it was based on a previous game.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's really fun.
So where did the giraffe come from?
Well, the giraffe, she started collecting, or maybe she was buying more in. I don't know where she has all these trinkets all of a sudden, but yeah, she started hiding giraffes.
Do you know that senior citizens go to estate sales and look through the trinkets of everyone who's just left this earth and go, I like that one. So
that's
anyway.
fun. So so the giraffe kind of became the symbol of Bob because it has the largest esophagus and you have no esophagus.
Right.
So we were trolling you a little bit, but in good fun and good nature. And you always roll with the punches anyway. So one day I started stepping into my shoes and they would be in my shoes.
Oh.
And
hard plastic ones, right? Literally,
yeah,
like might have to go to the emergency room.
Yeah. So, I knew that I wasn't going to be around. I knew I was going on a big tour for a month and that my schedule, one of the things about this journey together, and honestly, one of the only reasons that I'm not crying every day, but I'm so lucky that my career sucks because I can just come hang out with you for 3 weeks. It's New Year's Eve and you're like, you want to take an edible and go to a comedy show? I'm like, where have you been all my
go.
life?
Yeah.
This is awesome.
All right. Part of that wasn't true about your career. But
yeah, so I realized and also part of this is that I was conscious of I didn't want to be a burden. I mean, I'm like that just with even friends is I'm very conscious to not try to, I trip over myself to not be in someone else's way.
The burden doesn't fall far from the tree. Yes.
Yeah. So, but one time I showed up and mom goes, oh, thank God you're here. Now I can get drunk. And I realized, like, oh, I am useful.
You are useful, yeah.
She's got to take care of you. She's got to be alert, and
she's kind of sick of concerts, by the way. You started taking me, and she was like, "Yes, thankfully, I don't want to go see Donny Osmond for the 5th time."
So
and we went to the Grateful Dead.
Yes, Bruce Springsteen, which was one of my favorites. Because old people don't stand at concerts, and it's good
to watch Bruce from far back. Up close. Yes. They stand, by the way.
You got a good aisle seat. Yeah. I remember you took a photo of the seat number in case you wanted to go back to a concert at this T-Mobile venue. But yeah.
Anyway, so let's get back to the giraffe. The giraffe.
Yeah, so I was hanging out all the time, but I knew I wasn't going to be around for a couple months. So one day I left and I got the idea to Amazon a 3-foot stuffed giraffe to your house. And that way it's part of our game, but it is also a symbol of my love. And whenever mom will hide it in your bedroom or in the kitchen or whatever. And then
let me tell that story because that giraffe, well, first of all, as soon as I saw it, I went, actually, I think I said it before that.
She opened it live on camera. Yeah. So she was like, who could send this to me? Yeah.
That's my perfect emotional support animal because you don't have to feed it. You don't have to pick up after it. And she will put that giraffe in places like I'll be walking into the toilet and the giraffe will be like, "Excuse me," or and then when she wakes up, she'll go to her little office part of the kitchen where she does all our bookkeeping, and the giraffe will be doing the bookkeeping. And so
Yes.
it just became a really funny thing. And anytime anyone would ask, I would say, well, it's the largest esophagus on Earth in a mammal. So the giraffe, it's just it is also just a symbol of something I think is really lacking in our society. And I think that's just being playful. We are so time sucked by our devices. Hold on a second. I got to check my email. Can you guys wait? I know we're doing a podcast, but look what happened. Oh my God. Oh, what? There's some notifications. Oh, there's a call. Do I want to accept it? Oh no, I can push a message that says I'm on another call and I'll call you right back. That usually means 4 hours later because more people will keep anyway. And so just by playing, it brought a lot of fun into our lives. And I
Yeah.
know some of you are wondering, what about you said Andrew did something really, really crazy? When are you going to get to that? We are going to get to that really soon. But I thank you for the giraffe
Sure.
and
Well, I hope it brings you good memories and good vibes, and then you look at it and you smile, and then it feels like I caused that,
yep, yep,
and so it
yep, you
feels
did.
like a way for me to be there even when I'm not there. And
Yeah, but we're
I
you've
think
been
of that
here
whenever I
so
check my
much
bank account.
because of your dying career. You've been here a lot more
Yeah. Yeah.
than anyway. Um, we've had some great fun in Vegas. Oh,
Yeah.
we've met some amazing people, and you've headlined here in Vegas, and it's not as bad as he says, but he's not Taylor Tomlinson yet. Perhaps if he had a sex change, we talked about that's a possibility. But yeah, you are to me the funniest guy on the planet at a comedy club, and I can't wait to come see you at Jazz Bones. By the way, this next Friday, the 15th. All right.
Yes, I'll be opening for a band, which is going to be interesting because I'm not used to being on stage with people that have talent. So that'll be interesting.
It's hard. Wait a minute. That's just hard for a comedian opening for a band.
It's just a different expectation. When
Yeah.
you're watching a band, you're allowed to comment here and there. You're kind of tuning in and out. You're listening to the music. You're looking at your friends. If people miss a word of my sentence, then the rest of it might not make a lot of
Yes.
sense to them.
Yeah.
Or if they miss a sly expression, or there's so much detail. What I do is so much more, um, you know,
Then a band. Go
difficult.
ahead.
Yeah. So
Those Beatles are very annoying.
I mean, they're
Um,
just hitting well, that was one of the epiphanies I had watching the Grateful Dead. Also, not to get too sidetracked, but I took a bunch of gas station mushrooms, and the cool thing about a jam band. This all comes first full circle too, because I'm taking improv classes. But a jam band, they play like a 3-minute song, but it turns into 20 minutes
yeah,
because in the
because they're
middle of
brilliant.
the hook they can just experiment. and
Yeah, yeah,
and I was watching these guys, and I'm going, they're not asking the audience if this is a good song. They're going, this is music, motherfucker. I'm banging
yeah.
shit, I'm making noise, and this is music. And so I've ever since then I've been trying to sort of carry that onto the stage where I go, no, this is funny. And I'm telling you it's funny. I'm not asking for your permission to be funny.
Yeah, yeah.
And uh mixed results.
Motherfucker. You forgot to say motherfucker. Okay.
Motherfucker,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. So all right. Now to the topic at hand. First off, before we say what happened, how do you feel?
Um Pretty stupid, and pretty stupid, pretty um pretty stupid. Pretty stupid.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's
Uh,
okay, it's not the end of the world, but it's it's really annoying.
all right, I'm going to give another clue before we say what it is. But it's about the election.
Yeah.
And I, as you may know, I'm not particularly political. There are things like organized politics and organized religion that to me, I'd rather, I don't know, I'd rather hit my head with a hammer than take it, than pick a side, because once you pick a side, then you have to defend that side no matter where they are or what they're doing. And it's no secret that Andrew would be on the liberal side of things. And by the way, in my heart, so many liberal values, really, I would say a majority of them I share. I don't care about whether someone's transgender. I don't care anything about their race. I don't care. To me, every human being is is part of Jesus or Muhammad or Allah or Buddha. We're all part of this collective of humanity that's fighting between our primitive urges, tribalism, war, and things like that, and our civilized urges, which is to take care of each other, nurture each other. And what happens is, unfortunately, to me, we get split into two groups, and one group just says the other's doing it wrongly or too much, and the other group says the same, and then the vitriol it comes up with campaign. Anyway, it just drives me nuts. So when it came to the election, I've sort of been tuning it out. By the way, I'll be totally, I'm also an open book, so I'm not going to hide anything from you. I could not vote for Donald Trump, but I could empathize and totally understand everyone who did. In fact, more so than it made my friends who were liberal angry at me, a couple of them, maybe not angry, but irritated. And my conservative friends, I so understood. And so when asked, I was asked to make a prediction about the election, and I said, I don't know, because I've taught myself that that is the smartest answer and the most honest answer any human can ever give. Now, if you'd said, what do you think is going to happen in your gut? Where do you, yeah, I know you don't know, but if you were all knowing and all powerful, what would you proclaim? Which is what most people do on their phones. And so I'll tell you what I felt. Um, I Donald Trump has always been just a non-starter for me, but I've also voted for Republican presidents plenty of time. And in each election, I just basically look at the lesser of two evils and I pick the person I think is the most civilized. I guess that's a way to put it. I voted for Obama. I voted for Bush before the Iraq War, and then I didn't vote for him. I voted for Reagan many years ago. And I voted for, who did I vote for in 2016? I didn't vote for Trump. Oh, Hillary. I voted for Hillary, but I thought she was the worst possible candidate. Like literally, if you were trying to lose, because she was so easy to attack and she didn't have charisma. So anyway, when Kamala Harris came on and debated Donald Trump, I went, holy shit, a prosecutor is whipping his ass live on stage, trolling him. He's taking the bait. And her passion speeches about abortion and all the things she did. And I went, wow, she could win, but she could only win if she can maintain this kind of momentum every day. Because there is no greater performance artist at reality television in my lifetime, and let's just say in anyone's lifetime, because they didn't used to have television, than Donald Trump. And he's brilliantly skilled about it. And he is also probably the greatest troll of all time. And so I sort of knew his playbook. was to say something that would seem to disqualify him every single day so that everybody would freak out about it. And that the people, because we all watch these ads, and the ads will be like, you know, Rocky Smith eats baby's intestines every morning. And it'd be like, I know that's not true, but there was something that happened that maybe he was near a baby once and someone got a picture that looked weird. And so I like all these ads, I just can't stand them. And we're in Nevada, by the way.
Yeah.
At the time of this podcast, they haven't even called Nevada yet, although it likely will go to Trump. Anyway, so I'm feeling all of this. And I withdrew from most discussions and from most media watching. I mean, I would watch.
You're almost lucky you spent months in and out of the hospital because you couldn't pay attention. And then
That's
when
right.
you did look at your phone,
Yeah.
they were pumping you full of drugs. So
Yeah.
you didn't
Do me a
actually
favor.
feel anything.
Use a bone saw on my back so I don't watch TV.
So I can feel less pain than watching this election.
Oh,
Yeah.
anyway, and I felt for everybody because I knew that half the country's hearts were going to be broken. And I love, I always did a mass appeal show, tried to. We had political discussions, but we had people of all varieties on, and I never felt like we told anybody what to think. And so that's sort of my formula. But I also totally love partisan, humor. So all right, so that's the backdrop for.
So they legalized an website and app where you can bet on real world events. It's like sports betting, but you can bet on will Miley Cyrus have a #1 album in 2025? You can bet on.
Is that what you bet on?
No. I bet on the election.
Will Taylor Swift still be going out with Kelsey? That would be a bet, right? That would be a typical one.
I mean, this website for the problematic gamblers at home, cover your ears, but it's Kalshi, Kalshi. And, maybe we can have one of the tech people bring it up and show some of the absurd bets you can make. But you could bet on who will win the presidential election. You could bet on electoral college, popular vote. You could bet on specific swing states. You could bet on.
All right.
Whatever.
Let me set up the next part of this. Andrew and I hadn't talked in a while. Partially, we saw each other a lot when I was in Seattle for the surgery. We hadn't talked a lot, and I felt like reaching out to him. It was maybe 2 days before the election, or maybe the day before. I can't remember.
I think it was the day before, and I asked you what you were up, if you were going to stay up to watch it. You said, we're going to watch a TV show and go to bed.
Yeah, and even worse than that, I have to tell you, I talked to Lisa, and we both agreed for days before the election, we didn't watch the news, and we watched streaming shows. So the night before the election, we watched the Martha Stewart documentary, which I think is on Netflix. Now, let me tell you, if you're suffering right now, that documentary is very soothing. But it's also very interesting because we tend to think that things have changed dramatically. And certainly they have in terms of the ecosystem of our media. But Martha Stewart was one of the most brilliant women. I mean, smart. I mean, the kind of smart where when I'm in the room, I'm like, let me just wait until I have a moment to say something that might not sound stupid. Real smart people. And a billionaire. I believe she was the first woman billionaire on the planet and made multi-billions. And then she was also ruthlessly torn down by a mostly manufactured scandal about insider trading, which she wasn't even charged with. She was charged with when they were grilling her, telling a couple of lies. And it was almost nothing. In fact, if this sounds familiar to you, these are charges that no reasonable prosecutor would ever bring. You ever heard that phrase? And I'm watching this movie and I'm going, even though I'm trying not to be in the current news, all the stuff I'm seeing with Martha Stewart is relating to how we as humans interact and how we build each other up and then we tear people down. And so it's a fascinating show. Um, and we're watching that. And then, like, when it was over, it was like, you want to put on the news? No. I know. Let's watch some classic episodes of I Love Lucy. The one where they're doing the chocolates and Lucy and Ethel can't keep up with the chocolates and they're falling all over the fire. It's so great. And it relates incredibly to today because it starts out with husband and wives complaining about their gender roles and agreeing to switch roles. You girls will go to work and we'll stay home and take care of the house. And I'm like, the issues we have are always the same. They're always the same, every generation. What changes, and you cannot stop the future. You know, you cannot go back to, by legislation, we're going to have record stores again and no more files. You can't do that. Okay. You have to embrace the future. And the future is tech. The future is instant media. And we're going to have to figure it out as a civilization. So anyway, I'm in the middle of this. I'm loving all this. I'm happy. I don't even really remember that there's an election. And I call Andrew and I go, what's new? What are you up to? And Andrew says,
Well, I just bet on the election.
and I'm like, oh no. And then it was like, because I knew he would bet on Kamala Harris, and I had decided 2 months ago it was over, but I didn't tell anybody. I didn't make any predictions. And so I said, oh no. What did you bet?
$15,000. Which is a lot of dick jokes, you know, when you think about how that money gets earned.
I forgot you've been making millions. This is nothing to you.
Hour by hour on stage. You know, and it wasn't certainly it wasn't everything. I'll be fine. It was the most
hold on, back up.
Yeah.
Could you say that amount again? Just for the poor people at home that Kamala was trying to get to vote for her?
$15,000.
All right. What?
I started with 5,000.
Wait a minute. I want to get the emotions leading up to you pushing click on 15. And didn't you initially start with 5?
Yeah, I started with 5,000 because it works like a stock market where you buy shares of Kamala Harris for 35 cents. And so I bet $5,000 thinking this will be the most that I'm comfortable with losing and I won't cry the next day.
You know you're going to get tormented online.
Oh, yeah. I deserve it. And I'm not a bettor, by the way. I don't bet on sports. I
was like, oh, no, maybe we shouldn't have had so many nice visits with him in Las Vegas. Maybe he started to think that that's how you make money.
Coming down on me, yeah. Yeah, I don't.
All right.
It just seemed like too good to be true with like the guy who's yelling about eating dogs and cats.
Sure.
Versus a person.
But you didn't know that he's a performance artist who's trolling you. That he didn't care if it was true, and his whole electorate did. By the way, I didn't know which way the election would break. It broke for him, but also I got to tell you something. As of currently, he's winning the popular vote, but I don't see anybody reporting the fact that he's doing it with less votes than he got last time. And that
there's still more votes to come in. A lot of people are freaking out, but California is only 50% counted. You know, he's gonna lose his amount, but
okay. I want to know this because, by the way, you're not alone. Several of my friends in several bluer than blue states, were totally convinced. In fact, the day before the election, when I flew back from Keith and Leanne's house, I sat next to this very accomplished filmmaker who made films with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And for some reason, he started talking to me and we had a wonderful conversation. And he was a former political analyst. And he said, so this is my game. And he said, I got to tell you, he said, I've never called an election since Kennedy wrong. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to break for Kamala. And as he said that, I went, well, all right. I mean, I never say, and so when you said it, I went, and my brother Michael felt the same way. And I went, you're all in blue states that don't matter. And maybe just you all, because you're surrounded by your tribal community, think that the rest of the country is the same. Is that it, you think?
Well, our community is not location based anymore. It's who we talk to online and who
That's
we
true.
choose to follow and let in our lives and who the algorithm decides to put in your life also. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
now I will say I follow lots of right wing, I guess, pundits. I follow right wing podcasts. I just didn't believe them, I guess. So that's a thing I'm kind of working on in reflection is not just taking it in and kind of going, yeah, you idiots, you don't know what you're talking about, is going, there's got to be something behind this. So, but yeah, I started with 5,000 and then that was a week before the election. And then her odds kept going, my stock price kept going up to the point that I could have cashed out the day before and made, $1,000 or whatever. But you know, everything I was reading and everything I was sort of feeling, I woke up the morning before and I read more news and I thought, you know, literally one of the guys I follow said, put your money on Kamala. And all he does is analyze politics. And so I thought, well, I started counting the money before I had it. I don't know if you ever do this, but
No.
I started
Well,
looking at
I'm
the
sure I did, but
I
not
started
now.
looking at the prize money and
Yeah.
thinking, well, gosh, if I can bet five to win $8,000, imagine if I just bet another 10.
Okay, hold on. I would stop right here. You're not allowed in Vegas anymore. All right. So that's how. No more coming here. I'll just visit you and say I'll be at Jazz Bones on the 15th with Heart by Heart. By the way, I can't wait because the fact that you're both there and you both mean so much to me will be great. All right. The aftermath. You said you feel stupid. You're not stupid. You're passionate. The universe is the best teacher. Um, First off, I gotta say
It
this.
it was just dumb to. I mean, again, betting in general is stupid. I work really hard for that money, and in such a volatile business, it's a little bit of pride too. Like I really take pride on trying to be self sufficient, and
He never asked us for anything. Seriously.
I really was.
Yeah.
I was thinking like, gosh, imagine what an extra 20 grand would do.
Did you also imagine what missing 15 grand would do? I mean, I'm looking at your walls. You've got some nice blankets hung up over the window.
Well, yeah.
You've got the Seattle 12, which I would put up in my bedroom too, and a couple of pictures. But you could furnish that entire condo, or perhaps get a new kitchen. It didn't occur to you that you could lose?
Yeah, it did. Right after I lost. The odds dropped. It got close to 50-50. And then on election day, which is an interesting discussion too, is that the betting markets predicted a lot before the mainstream media even did. But yeah, immediately once everything started coming in, she drops back down to 30%. And I was kind of watching the TV and watching online and watching certain people that I trusted were tallying and saying, and
So you're doing all of this with your nose in your phone.
yeah,
And
I
I know you
cashed
like
out.
I know you like to go hiking. I know you like
Yes,
to
I
stand
did.
on top
Yeah,
of Tiger Mountain.
yeah,
I would do more of that.
I did that. I woke up and I decided I'm not going to just stare at the phone all day. So I went on a big hike. I wore my American flag socks. It's my election day tradition,
Mm.
and I was checking the phone every 40 minutes just to see if anything drastic happened, and I knew that by the time I got home is when things would really start to shift anyway. So I didn't want to overreact. And then, um,
So could you have gotten out of it at some point during
I
the
could have
evening?
gotten out earlier.
When did you get out?
She was down to 3%.
So how much did you get? 3% of
I got
15,000?
about $1,200 back.
Oh, all right. So you only lost 14,000. No, sorry, 13,700.
Sure. Yeah. Could have
I'm
been
just
worse.
trying to end. We're about out of time. I'm trying to end on a happy note.
Sure.
Let me end on
Um,
a little more of a happy note too. By the way, I
yeah.
love you. And I think this was, at first I was sort of devastated because you didn't ask me. But that's okay. I mean, but I'm also, my heart is going out to everybody after this election. And by the way, when I talk to my liberal friends, they don't want to hear what I have to say. So I'm not going to say it here because no one wants to hear. No one wants to hear bipartisan, no partisan. Look, this is how humanity works. Stuff. It pisses them off. But I will say this: Donald Trump doesn't execute people. Donald Trump tried to overturn an election. He couldn't do it. But he is the greatest showman, entertainer of all time. And what Donald Trump did is get Republicans everything they want. And in terms of, it's politics is like war. And so, of course, people lie when they're, in fact, the expression they use to say is if you don't win, you can't get anything done. So if you find a way to lie to win, it's kind of considered fair play. And when you're trolling people, and Howard Stern did this many, many years ago, and I grew to admire him as an interviewer. And now he's been totally, was in Harris's camp, but he got big by pissing people off. He got big by essentially trolling people and getting the FCC to come after him. You know what I mean? And so Trump and Howard, they fall into it. And Martha Stewart, same. She upset the apple cart in so many ways. By the way, she eventually did, and it's in this movie I'm recommending. She eventually did a Comedy Central roast with Snoop Dogg. I forget who the roast was of, but it brought her right back because she got up there and she used MF and she used the F word and she totally redefined herself as like, all right, I'm a bitch, I'll own it, right? And so all I would say about the election to various people is, will it be as bad as all of those taunts and trolls? Probably not. I don't know is the only correct answer, but it'll be bad for you because it was a thrubbing. Does that mean the end of our country? Honestly, I don't think so. I hope not. I don't know. I always put I don't know at the end of each.
Well, I just hope we don't elect a president who will do bad things like support a genocide or make housing unaffordable or consolidate power into small groups
that would be Biden
or perpetuate fear to gain control of the media. I mean, we just can't.
So you have that bipartisan perspective.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up the ad campaigns because you live in a swing state, but
it was horrible. We have a minute.
We don't get a lot of that in Washington because
we have 1.5 minutes. So go ahead.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of that because they know we're libtards. But this was the first year I had YouTube TV, so I got to watch like football games in Ohio.
Yeah,
and there was one ad that really caught my eye, and it was Donald Trump spent $100 million on an ad where he was like, Kamala wants to give sex change surgery to illegal immigrants in prison.
Yeah.
And I was like, this can't be happening.
But it was actually true. Did you research it?
You know how many times it happened?
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah. Well,
which in hindsight, yeah, good point. We could have cut that from the budget,
Anyway,
but it's just very silly. Like, I think Kamala should have come out with a campaign about I will stop demons from raping people in the middle of the night. Like that only happens.
It wouldn't work. It's not her personality. She's not the greatest troll. She's a prosecutor. If she had debated him every night on a live stage, she could have won. But it was a bad deck of cards. The Democrats got blamed for the inflation, which was really caused by the pandemic, but it was exacerbated by Biden. And they
Yeah.
didn't do anything about the border until 3.5 in, and that was stupid. And believe me, the Democrats earned this one.
Right.
My son says they also ran a woman against him, and it didn't work last time.
Yeah.
I thought this was better, and I deeply respect her. And by the way, it is said that Trump said he respected her for her perseverance, and was very cordial. He's, I don't know, but I got to tell you this: I've lived a whole lifetime, and every time the Republicans are in, the Democrats say it's the end, and every time the Democrats are in, the Republicans say they're ruining our country. Does anybody say it like Donald Trump? No, no one's ever done that. I don't think anyone else ever will, because I think as an entertainer, he's one of a kind. But I wish and pray for the best for all Americans and all my friends. And I don't care what political preference you are. I don't care what pronoun you use. I would not give illegal immigrants surgery, but I'd consider it, for the tiny minority of people who are, a tiny minority with that issue. Anyway, I must say, you had a lot of balls to come on and tell that story. Maybe I.
Well, I in closing, I agree with Donald Trump. We should get rid of the Department of Education because it's clearly not working.
It's not working. That's you doing your job. God bless you. I love you, son.
Thanks
Cheers.
very much. Good to have you back, man. I hope we can do this.
I'm going to try. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.